Hey, what's going on? Another episode of Brownish Live with my co-host Sasha Merci
How y'all doing?
from, from the hit show Like, Share, Dímelo
On TV.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
The show's great. Can I say that? Can
Yeah.
I say that? The show is amazing. Everything I'm seeing online is amazing. You should be super proud.
I
And
am.
I'm excited. I'm excited because I got you, who's a creator and EP of your own show on Fuse, and now we also have joining us today a very special guest, right? Creator, showrunner of the hit show One Day at a Time, Gloria Calderon Kellett.
Oh, Eric, you say the Calderon right. It makes me so happy. And you said the Kellett right.
You have to. I hate when people don't roll the R's.
People say, listen, for so long the Calderon was Calderon. Like people didn't know how to say it, but now all the Latinos know how to say Calderon, but they say Clet or Kel. You said it perfectly. Thank you, sir. Gracias, señor. Gracias.
Do they say cadet? Do they say cadet because of the two?
Colette or people just say it wrong. So Gloria Calderon Kellett is correct. Calderon Kellett is correct.
Yeah, nothing bugs me more when people don't roll the R's when they should. Like I had a Cuban friend back in high school. His last name was Morejon. All high school. Morjan. And he would just take it. Like, dude, correct them. Let them know.
Oh my God, Morejon, what a baller name, too.
Yeah.
Like if you have that name, you want them to say it right.
Right.
Exactly. So how is everything going with you? How's quarantine treating you?
I'm good. I recognize my privilege because as a writer, my days aren't that different. I'm still writing. I'm still doing a lot of Zooms. I'm still doing lectures via Zoom. So like, it's actually been very busy and full. And I know that's not everybody. I think about, my brother was just furloughed and so many people in my family are struggling. And so I really feel so blessed to be able to continue doing my work from home. I mean, I'm also now a chef and a cleaner and a teacher.
Yeah.
So that was not what I expected. And I am not good at those things. I'm pretty good. I'm a pretty good cook. But the teacher, God bless our teachers, I don't have the patience and they don't want to hear it from me. They don't want to hear it. They want a lovely young person telling them what they should be doing in school. So my hat's off to all of our teachers.
Oh yeah, I've already warned my wife. I was like, when school starts back up, I'm going to mouth kiss all the teachers and the principal.
I know. Bless their hearts. Bless their hearts.
So what I love about you, like I know you just said right now, it didn't affect, like you're doing the writer's room, you're doing the Zooms. I love how accessible you are on social media. I think it is so dope. Like yeah, like the fact, like I've seen you multiple times on Twitter where you're like, hey guys, I got 30 minutes.
Yes.
Ask me any questions you want about writing. Ask me any questions you want about pitching a show. Any question about auditioning. And I'm just like, what? Like to open up that platform to share the knowledge you have, I think is so amazing.
Well, I don't know much, but what I know, I'm happy to share.
No, but even like you shouldn't even say you don't know much. It's like a lot of times, a lot of people don't know what they're going into.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
I feel like even in the Latin community, we're so divided sometimes where like we feel like we're doing it alone. It's just so refreshing to know that there's voices out there that go, oh, no. This is how it should be. And you go, oh, okay.
Well, I was always one too that figured like, I want to know what the rules are and then I'll figure out how to break them. Right. It's like how the modern dancers first learn ballet. It's, like you just have to know what the basics are and then go, okay. And education, I think, especially for communities of color is, especially in the arts, that's an extra thing. And a lot of people in our community can't afford these types of classes. And I just know what that feels like. I'm a first gen kid. So I know the sacrifices. I mean, my mom would work 3 jobs so that I could take a dance class. Right. So I know what that is. And this whole thing can be used for good. So it just seemed like if I can give back a little bit, boy, that would have meant so much to me when I was coming up and didn't know anything. So that's the
Was writing something that you always wanted to do, creating your own show and doing this? Like, what was your dream?
My dream was just to be a storyteller. I didn't know what that would be. I was a singer when I was a kid. Something entertainment, something positive, entertainment related. So I started as a singer. I moved into acting, and then there were no auditions. There were no part. And when there were auditions, it was wildly stereotyped auditions, and it was only Latino characters I went out for initially. And I was not Latino enough to play any of those roles, according to Hollywood, even though both my parents, I'm, puro Cubano. Actually, that's not true. I did my 23andMe. So I'm straight up Caribbean. I'm African, I'm Spanish. It's like, I am straight up Caribbean. So yeah, I just felt a deep frustration with that. And I think the thing I really get from, I feel so grateful to be an immigrant kid, because I think there's something that first generation kids have where all the sacrifice was for me to make it. I feel that. And I don't feel it as a negative thing. I feel it as I have a real, I have a real debt to pay these people. And I will never know the struggle and the sacrifice like they knew the struggle and the sacrifice, so that I could be here. So I walk in that every day. I walk in being the daughter of an immigrant every day. And the beauty of what this country allowed us back when they did that thing, that when they were great and did that. Mm-hmm. And I feel it. I feel it. And so, their hard work I saw when I was growing up. And so I could see how, hard work can get you out of stuff in America. Right. That's what I felt growing up. I felt like if you work hard, you can make it here. And that's unique to this country. And so that's what I would do. I would just double down and not wait. And, that was a big thing for my mom and my abuela. They were like, don't wait. Don't wait. They're not doing it. You do it. No one's doing the thing. You do it. And that's really what, after that many auditions, after like a year of auditioning, I was like, I guess I need to write it, because I don't know why, but nobody's writing it in liberal Hollywood. No, there's no Latinos anywhere. Right. So, okay, I guess I'll write it. And then that just took off very quickly. It was very clear.
So family was always behind you 100% when you were like, I'm going into entertainment. Because I'll tell you now, when I told my mother I'm doing stand-up, she was like, oh, stand-up? No.
Well, here's the beauty. They were always supportive. But this is the Cuban way I was brought up. Okay, you can do it, but you got to be the best.
Mm.
Oh,
so that's fine. You want to do that? Go be the best. So
no pressure.
No pressure. No pressure. But let me tell you, I loved the pressure. I mean, for me, that was a gift. For me, it was a gift. I see this with so many of my friends that came from privilege. They have a safety net. Well, no, I don't have no safety net.
Right.
I got no choice.
Right.
There's no Prince Charming. I'm my own Prince Charming. So let's do this. And there's something about that that's empowering. There's something about that, my husband and I talk a lot, because we started with, not a lot, and now we have a lot. And if it went away tomorrow, I could get it back in 5 years. I know I could. And there's something empowering to that. There's something that makes you less about stuff when you're like, nah, I got this, so I can do it. I can do it again.
What is something that you learned from your family that you instill in your work?
Dedication and hard work. Education. I mean, education was a really big thing for my parents. Education. Like, if you want to do something, take a class. Like, there was a respect for education and educators. So that was one of the reasons why when I started out in Hollywood and the writing started happening pretty quickly, but my journey, the acting was doors slammed, but the writing, suddenly doors were opening, right? The first thing that happened is people were like, you need to pitch shows. And I was like, but I've never even been in a writer's, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know this world at all. So I went to one meeting where I went to pitch shows, and it was a disaster because I didn't know. And I left that meeting going, no, I'm not going to. There are people that can do that, and God bless them. And if you can do that, and if you're one of those people that can just get in there and do it, awesome. I need to learn from the inside out. I need the education of being in the room, seeing what the system is, especially a dominant culture system, and working my way up through that dominant culture system. And that was for me the gift, was when I said, no, I'm going to just start at the bottom, and that's okay. I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to get the coffee. I'm going to see what that is. I'm going to then get the second job. And so I did a traditional route in that I was an assistant that worked up the ranks. Mm. And that was a gift. That was a gift, because I think what I see happening a lot too, especially with content creators, is that content creators are making some good money. It's hard for them to step away from that and start at the bottom. They don't want, they're like, I'm making good money, I'm sponsored, I'm making my content, it's online. But then the transition, because I want those content creators to move into dominant culture so that we can shift narrative in a big way. For real culture change, we can't just be speaking to our community. We have to speak to our community and invite other people over to our house for dinner, right? That's how the culture change happens. So for that to happen, we have to break through dominant culture. So I'm trying to urge people early on to take the crappy jobs, because I get it. I get it. I get that by the time you're 35 or whatever, you're like, I don't want to get anybody coffee.
Right.
I have so many followers on Instagram. Like, I don't want to do that shit, and I get it.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing that I can say, that it feels like a trap, because it's like you are making all this content and you're making all this money, but once this all goes away, like you don't really have a proper body of work. And I think that it's important for content creators to start thinking about, okay, what's outside of social media? Is it writing? Is it theater? Is it acting? Is it producing? Because that's the only way, like you said, that there's a culture shift. So I definitely agree with you on that. But I have a question, like, what is your message that you want the world to know every time you write? Like, what is the message that you want to give the world?
I think that love heals. That love heals, that understanding heals. Mm-hmm. And that we're, working with Norman Lear the past 4 years has been such a gift, because he's the same. He's like, we're more alike than we are different. Mm-hmm. We all care about our family. We all care. And if it's not our family, our friend group, or we all love somebody. Somebody means something to us. We all have people that are struggling in our lives. We all are worried about somebody, like all of that is meaningful. And if we can look around at, like on the worst day, when I'm very upset at my president, I still think he's not my president, but the president. I think like, that guy doesn't think he's the villain in his story. He's the good guy in his story. And so how can we reach out to one another and say, language is damaging. You have to lead with love. You have to lead with love. You have to. It is the only thing that's going to save us. So that's what I try to put in the work. What I try to put in the work is, hopefully it's a hug. That's what I'd like the work to feel like. I'd like people to experience it like, oh, I feel good now. And that's not everybody's job and every entertainer's job. I think that there's work that is supposed to make you feel sick for a reason, right? Like, or make you feel angry for a reason. That's just not personally what I want to put out into the world. I appreciate that. Sometimes I like watching that stuff. I like to make stuff that at the end of it, people will talk about something and will hopefully try to build a bridge with somebody in their life.
Yeah.
Out of all the episodes you've done, is there one you're most proud of where you were like, wow, we did that?
I really love Hello Penelope in season 2, I believe. It's when Penelope goes off of her medication. Traditionally in communities of color, Jesus saves us, not therapists.
Right.
So, and this idea of familismo is a beautiful idea wherein we take care of our own. That is something that's very entrenched in our culture. And I love it. It has been, my parents are, well, not right now because of quarantine, but my parents were picking up my kids from school every day and having dinner with me at least 4 nights a week. And I loved it. Like I like them. So
yeah,
that was beautiful. And then I take care of that. We take care of each other in a way that a lot of white people don't do. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I really cherish and love. But at the same time, it can be limiting. It can be, we need to look beyond that. We need to look beyond the scope of that.
Me and my wife, she's a white woman. It was so funny because we were talking about our parents, and her parents are starting to look at retirement homes. Oh. They're at that age. So then she turns to me, she goes, "What's your mom going to do?" I was like, "What do you, we went, get her."
Yeah. They come here.
We didn't even get her. I was like,
right.
Firstborn. I'm the son, I'm the favorite. She's ours. Ta-da.
Yeah. I know. Thank God my husband's with me. My husband's white as well. He's Irish English. And he just knows. He's been with me for so long, he knows. And he's very comfortable. It's great. But yeah, no, there's not even a question. That's just what we do. Yeah. We take care of each other.
So now I have to ask, because you touch on topics that, like you say, in our culture is very, like medication, going to therapy, like all that stuff is very taboo to some people. Like, oh, you don't go to therapy. Like I remember one time I told my mother, I was like, I think I want to go to therapy. Why? You gonna talk about me? Like that was a thing.
Right. Because that's the idea of familismo, right? It's like you don't talk about us to others, to strangers.
Oh yeah.
We take care of each other here.
Yeah, you're gonna tell them our secrets?
Yeah.
So out of all the subjects, and I have to talk about it because this was the most recent one. 2 weeks ago, you do an episode on self-pleasure.
Yes.
And you did it. It made me laugh because I saw you tweet about it and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go check it out. You did it, and I thought it was gonna be mom catches son. Oh no. You went the other way around where son catch mom.
Yep.
And I was like, wait, hold up.
Yep.
First of all, I never want to think of my mom.
But don't you hope she does, Erik? Come on.
Well, I'll tell you this. This is the one hiccup I had with your show. So one time I remember coming home early from school and I heard sounds, mom and dad. Yeah. And I was like, oh, left, come back in, slam the door. I couldn't look them in the eyes for a month.
Yeah, sure.
Your character right away, they're talking again. I was like, no, that would have been weird.
Well, we don't have time for that. I mean, he had his awkward moment, and then she pushed through as she would. Yeah, I mean, that's this is a single woman. This is a single mom who's a sexy woman. So it seemed like such a fun episode to do. I love taking these ideas and turning them on their head. So that was one that I've wanted to do for a while, and the audience loved it. So that was really, really fun.
It was very well done. It was great. And so this is the question. Like a lot of the jokes I do on stage come from truth. Was that a story that one of your writers was like, hey?
No, it was not. That was just one that every once in a while, what I like to do going into the season is I think in two ways. Mm-hmm. One is, what's a story I've never seen before, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one. And the other is, what's a story I've seen a million times but through a white lens, and I'd love to see it through a Latino lens. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of the two ways that we kind of go in. Then we have all these things we've set up from these characters that we have to pay off because we've set them up. So that is sort of what pieces it together. And then stuff will happen from our life. The colorism episode happened because growing up, my brother's very dark. He's really, really dark with green eyes, and I'm blanquita. Also I'm a vampire porque I'm sitting typing inside all day. I actually tan like a dream, but I'm never in the sun to enjoy it. But he's naturally just a beautiful caramelo. And it was fascinating walking through the world with him and seeing how differently he was treated. Interesting. Shocking. And he's like, whatever. He's a big guy. He doesn't give it. He could care less. But he called me right before we shot season 2, and he was like, right after 45 was elected, and was like, I was just at the beach with the boys, and somebody yelled at me to go back to Mexico. And he's like, I was like, what? Like, and he goes, I was so discombobulated that I was like, well, I'm not Mexican, but don't say that to anybody, right? Like, yeah. And it was, we had to put that in the episode because I just experienced the world differently because people are you Italian? Are you Middle East? People would never know what I was. And it's interesting that the white privilege bleeds into Latinidad because you're able to, I remember when I was looking for houses and my husband and I went and so we were in Santa Monica and we were looking at a little condo in Santa Monica. It was really cute. And the realtor was like, just so you know, like there's a lot of like Hispanic Latino people. And I was like, oh, well, good, since I'm Latina. Like,
Are
oh,
you serious?
oh yes, oh
Are
yes,
you serious, bro?
oh yeah,
That's-
yeah. So people will say things in front of me sometimes because they don't know. I mean, now people know, but so I wanted to do an episode about that. I wanted to do an episode about colorism and what that is and how we talk about it in our community, and like, and also how culturally we've got to stop it within our own community.
Yeah.
Telenovelas.
Yep.
The blanquita, like we are doing it. Like there is an entrenched colorism in our community as well that we have to talk about. So yeah, all this stuff, a lot of it comes from life. A lot of it comes from conversations I've had with my parents or the writers have had with their families, and all that stuff trickles in. But we're able to talk about, real things that matter to us, and hopefully shed light on them, and hopefully laugh a little bit, and hopefully people leave going, oh, I got to think about that. Oh, do I do that? Or does my abuela do that? Or, like it was my grandfather lovingly sometimes called my abuela mi negra.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what? Lovingly. Like that was a cute joke between them. What? And, he was very, very old. I mean, obviously he's long passed away, but like, we have to look at that. We have to look at that as a community. It's not cool. It's not cute. And we separate ourselves as a result of that. We move, we create divides where there don't need to be divides. And certainly when we're creating content too, our community is real like, oh, Puerto Ricans playing Cubans, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, y'all, show me the Cuban Rita Moreno. Oh, she don't exist. Then everyone get off.
Yeah, I mean, that's so silly. That's why it's just like they're always talking about how there's not a real camaraderie within the Latino community, and we're always I'm always noticing how a lot of people just trying to put their culture first, but it's like, yo, we speak Spanish. So we're in America together trying to figure this out. If we all lived in a building and a Guatemalan person doesn't look like me, but we speak Spanish, there is something that brings us together. There's a culture that brings us together. Therefore, yeah, we are Latino. And then separately, we have our own different cultures that we can learn from. But we speak Spanish. There's so many people that...
There's stuff that's just like... that there's shared cultural things. There's shared stuff that's like, oh my God, my abuela did that too, or my, like. Exactly. I think that you've hit on something so great, which is that we have to come together.
We have to
come together, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of people would get upset with me because I identify as Latina. When I'm talking, I talk about being Latina, and they're like, "You're Cuban," and I'm like, I'm Cuban American, and I'm so proud of being Cuban American. But I identify with the uniting of all of us.
Me too.
I really think it's important. So I really started putting out there more the Latina aspect of it because I feel a shared camaraderie with this community. And I feel like we have to hold hands if we're going to break through. 18 to 20% of the population, what we're still seeing is 3%, 6% on TV and on film. Like the only way we're going to come through it is if we stop. The white people don't go, wait a minute.
Right.
That family on TV, that dad is Irish and the grandfather is English and the granddaughter is Australian?
Exactly. White.
How many shows do we watch with like white male actors and then they win an Emmy and they get up there and they're British? You're like, hold up.
Yeah. It's seriously. So it's like, we got to think about that. We got to think about that and go, oh, it's the story. It's the story. So we've got to service the story, and who is going to best service this story? And that's it.
I think that also it goes down into the history of like divide and conquer, where it's just been that way, where we've been divided within our own communities, but now is the perfect time to be like, yo, we already know we're learning our history. Let's not repeat it, and let's come together.
Yes.
I'm so for it. It's so important for all of us.
I always get mad when I see people like, like I'll say, oh guys, go watch, One Day at a Time, go watch On My Block, and they go, oh, but that show, those are Cubans. But I'm like, it doesn't matter. You have to watch it, because if you want to see that story, your story told, it's not going to happen if they don't see this succeed. All these have to succeed for those doors to open up, because right now we're not seeing anything. We see little victories here, but we're not represented across the board.
Yes.
one day at a time. What really resonated with me was the relationship between the grandmother and the son. And it's always like, because it's not that your grandma don't like you as a girl, it's that it's always the boys, the affection with the boys. You're like, I'm right here. What's up? And it's always like this coddling that our culture has with the boys, that we're always being so making sure that they're okay and all that stuff, while we're so tough on the girls. And it's like, it was so good to see that, because I can resonate with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's
that was I mean, listen, I was straight A. I did all that, but my Papito, the original Papito was my brother, and he was the one because he's cute, he's so handsome, so charming. You know, he's got the green eyes and the dark skin, and then he's just, you know, they would
I don't
all
see what's wrong with this, guys. I'm telling you now.
Erik.
I don't know what you guys are complaining about. It was amazing growing up.
My question to you is, what character is most like Gloria Calderon? Who is?
I would say I'm a little bit of all the women. I'm the most Penelope most, but I'm a little bit Lydia and I'm a little bit Elena. You know, like I didn't have a quinceañera. That was a big deal because I was in a very feminist headspace, and I was reading about them. Like, what are these coming out parties? What? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You dress up your kid and you put them out and you go, men of the village, ¿qué piensa? What can I get? Give me 2 goats? Great. Like, right. That's what that shit was. That's what that was. And I was like, no. Like, I thought it was just a party. You get dressed up, you have fun, you dance. I love dancing, you know. But when I found all that out, I was like, I'm not into it. And so I remember my parents being very disappointed. And then I said, I will have a big wedding in a church for you.
Oh, wow.
And I did. So we good.
That was a great compromise, though. That was
great.
Yeah.
All right, before we let you go, we know you're super busy. We do this thing called Quarantine Confession, where we confess something. It doesn't have to be big, because I see you like, oh, hold on. It could be something small that you'd like to get off your chest now. Like, for instance, I'm a confess now. I confessed a couple weeks ago. I didn't watch The Wire. I'm watching it now. I love it. Here's another one I've never watched. Never seen any of the Godfather movies, guys. I know. I don't need this judgment. Okay. We're in quarantine, guys.
I'm not judging. You do you. I'm gonna tell you, I have so many. I mean, geez, I have so many confessions. I'll confess. The thing is, my life is such an open book. I don't know that this is gonna be a scoop.
I know. I saw my favorite tweet of yours a couple of weeks ago was, are we using bread just right into the Nutella? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that. Let's do it.
I know, man. The COVID-19 is the amount of pounds I've gained. Okay. I've tried to watch The Wire, Erik, several times. I can't. I just think maybe in this life we're not gonna watch The Wire.
Not gonna happen.
Okay.
Everyone's like, you got to get through the first 6. I'm like, that's 6 hours of my life. I can't do that. That's a lot. So I've tried, and I just don't think I care enough. I think that one has bypassed me. So okay. I think I'm not going to watch The Wire. What else? What are my? I gotta think about the confessions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my life's an open book, so ask away. The Wire's a big one.
Okay, that's a good one.
What about you, Sasha?
My confession is that I'm getting lazier. Like, for example, right? I woke up at 7:00 in the morning, and I've been on my phone until it was time for this call. I mean, I got my makeup done, but it was like I was on my phone for like 3 hours.
No problem with this.
No,
it's a pandemic. I feel like right now, it's a global pandemic. I think you can do what you got to do.
And I'm just like, I know that I've said this before, but it's severe now. Like, I'm really eating a lot of cupcakes, and I've said this before, but now I'm eating it for breakfast as well.
That's fine. It's eggs. It's got flour. You're good.
Flour. It's basically cake.
Yeah, man. I've been eating a lot of sweets, so that's really been bad for me.
Well, Gloria, thank you so much for taking this time with us. Everybody, make sure you go see One Day at a Time, Tuesdays 9:30 on Pop TV and TV Land. So excited to see what you got planned.
Animated episode. We have an animated episode coming up June 15th. So very excited. Big political episode.
Okay.
Will you guys also be doing a social distancing episode? Is that
we did a social distancing thing. It's on Twitter. You can find it on Twitter. It was embedded in a Variety article, so people kind of missed it. But we did a little.
Cool.
It's like 7 minutes.
Okay, so go watch that. It's like a little Easter egg in Variety.
Easter egg.
Well, thank you so much, Gloria.
Thanks,
and we'll see you after the lockdown.
Definitely. Thank you for coming on. Bye.
Bye.